Well, it's exactly 1 minute past the hour of 8. My name is Siobhan, and the conversation on the Twitter jabs continues. And today we are discussing Uganda at the 2023 Oscars. Of course, this comes at a time when Maurice Mugisha's movie Tembele was nominated. Well, joining me at the center of this discussion as we get into this exciting good news, because guys, we are going to the Oscars. Well, I am joined by Mr. Godfrey Musinguzi, and he is the chairman of the Uganda Academy Selection Committee. Yes, and I'm also joined by Mr. Maurice Mugisha. Some people actually miss out the Herbert name. He's actually called Maurice Mugisha Herbert, or regardless of the arrangement. Well, Maurice Mugisha is a fast-rising film actor, director, as well as photographer, and of course the director of Tembele. Well, for very many people, Maurice Mugisha did become famous. That was back in 2008 when he appeared in Big Brother Africa. Well, also he got his debut in his feature film, that is Stain, which received 12 nominations at the Uganda Film Festival Awards. So these are the gentlemen that are joining me this morning as we discuss Uganda at the Oscars. So first, I'll start with Mr. Maurice Mugisha. Yeah. How do you feel?
What can I say? It's a beautiful day. I'm glad to be here, first of all. And I'm excited for the opportunity landed on my laps. I know there's a couple of talented African or Ugandan filmmakers that, would have loved to be pre-selected, but the chances rained down on me, and I'm very grateful. Yes. Words can't imagine, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Musinguzi, as the chairman of the Uganda Academy Selection Committee, how do you feel about the Tembele movie? But not just the Tembele movie, but also how do you feel that Uganda's movie, and that is Tembele, which is for Mr. Maurice Mugisha, has been selected and nominated at the Oscars?
Well, it is also a very exciting feeling. Good morning, Uganda. We love you so much, and thank you for this. First, I will say thank you to CTV for the opportunity to raise a flag about this campaign. As a chairman, it's always a dream to see a Ugandan film represent internationally, and we also believe that it is high time that we expose this talent that is in Uganda, because we have the capacity and the ability to compete internationally. All we need to do is how best can we come together, can we create that force to put it out.
Okay, so according to you, and you being part of the selection committee, what makes Tembele a unique movie?
Wow, about that is a very tense and very complicated process because there are always so much to look at, but one thing I keep saying is that Tembele at least ticked all the boxes of film making elements, because at some point it was above 5%, or if we had to look at out of 10, it scored at least averagely. So there are few things to put together than the other films that were submitted. Yeah.
Okay, so Maurice, why did the movie that we're talking about, this movie is called Tembele?
Yes.
Help us understand, let the viewer understand, why did you name it Tembele? And what is the story? I cannot fail to ask, because these are questions we asked. The other day, a few months ago, when the girl in the yellow jumper hit the Netflix cinemas, we were quick to say, but why didn't we call it the girl in a red jumper? Why are we calling it the girl in a yellow jumper? So why did you give this movie the name Tembele?
Actually, I decided to, I gave the movie this name with ease because, first of all, one of the tenets of filmmaking, or the principles of filmmaking, is that you have to jump on a title that will be so easy for people to actually memorize. I don't know if you get the point. Yes. Because the film has many other, challenges to face. So I decided to come up with a name Tembele because I didn't want to make life hard for people out there, and for myself as well. Or maybe that's a lazy point, but also I decided to give it Tembele because of the Africanness, or because of the indigenousness of the society within which I come from. I adore so many surnames. I've met people who don't even have Christian names, or the other, do they call them maiden names?
Maiden name.
Exactly. So there's a strength within the Africanness of the name.
Yes.
So you notice how you asked me why I named it. And I think Tembele is a powerful name. It's one that you'll never forget. You can never mistake it for the boy jumping up a tree and he falls. You get the point. So I really think it drives the meaning home, because actually the film focuses on the main character, who called Tembele, played by Ngaka Lukanyi Patrick. So there is no way you can ever mix up ideas or names. It's Tembele, and I love it that way.
Okay.
So and I believe Ugandans also will jump on this and believe that.
Absolutely,
actually,
we have already jumped on it, ready to support.
Yeah,
so every movie director and a producer, and what you see on your screen is actually the trailer of Tembele, and we did show it earlier in the Twitter Jabs Part 1. But as a movie director, producer, photographer, usually when we come up with such concepts about movies, we have where we are coming from,
Yes.
or we are looking as to either creating awareness, or there is just something going through your mind. So when you are sitting down to write the concept of this movie, or to write the storyline and the different plots and twists,
Yes.
what was going through your mind? What were you intending to achieve?
Usually as a film maker who has been around for quite some time, I had a couple of stories that I wanted to tell. You usually have, that whole, flow of very many other films. But at the time, people had just crawled out of COVID. You know what happened during COVID. Most people may not really pay attention, but I know in every homestead, there was a problem. Up to today, some people are still suffering from the baggage of the post-COVID effects. So I'm one of those people that actually saw the environment within which, I come from. So most of the stories are deduced from where I come from. I don't come from far. I come from the barracks in Luzira, so you know the kinds of people that live there. Then I've managed to, relate to the friends who come from dingy places, peri-urban, people from downtown. You get the point. So it's only natural that a boy who has grown in the suburbs of Kampala, the stories within my mind will definitely be stories of trying to make people go like, okay, hey, look here, you've been down, but you need to get up. So basically, Tembele, I saw Tembele as one of those stories that I would like to, share with people. So if you look at Tembele, you know very well that this film highlights the pertinent issues of maternal mental health. That if you fall down, how do you dust yourself and get up? Which is beautifully told in the film Tembele. So that's how I came up with that idea. And remember, mental health is not exactly
something welcomed in our society.
Exactly. Then also I focused on the man. Because I'm a man, I come from, I know where I come from. Just the way women usually talk about the whole women thing. When they get up, you can't stop them. So it's my way of also standing as a figure for men. You know how people think that men do not suffer, and even our cultures tell us that men shouldn't really struggle or shouldn't show their pain. Yeah, you shouldn't wear your heart on your sleeve, and all those other statements that a man is supposed to split firewood and but you see in the film that actually Tembele tries to pretend and act like how his forefathers taught him, but you see mental health kind of dissects him and puts him leeway. So basically I'm here to tell people, hey, look here, it's okay to cry.
It's okay to feel the way you're feeling.
Exactly.
Well, back to you, Mr. Musinguzi. You talked about the criteria, and you said that Tembele had ticked all the boxes. What criteria exactly do we follow when it comes to movies appearing or being nominated at the Oscars? But also, I truly know that this is not the first time that Uganda has tried to hit at the Oscars. I remember at the 92nd Oscars, the movie Order from Above did not actually go through because it did not meet a particular criteria. So please expound on that as well.
As the committee, we are given guidelines to follow, and one of them is at least a film must cover 65% or 75% indigenous language. Okay. And then the story must be relatable. People in that community where the film is coming from, people must relate with the story. The other thing is that the elements of film must be at least seen in this whole process. There is a lot of guidelines that are given to follow while looking out for this story. And the other thing also is something that you want to look at before you put out a story to represent Uganda on international cinemas. There are some of the things that you need to look at. We've seen, if you look at Tembele, he's telling a story of the unseen people how many times do you pay attention to these garbage guys? You actually ignore them. So many times, me and you know that at home there is that garbage guy that comes to pick garbage every day. You never even take time to find out whether he has a family, how he survives. When you look at the process, Tembele goes through to just deliver this wife to the hospital. It comes back to you as a person. At some point, do we have these facilities around? So we look at this story as something that should be preached around the world, that these are the unseen people that we need also to care about and also offer help at some point.
Okay,
Yeah.
so while we're still looking at the film industry here in Uganda, still to you, Mr. Musinguzi, what are some of these challenges that actually affect Ugandan filmmakers before I cross over to you, Morris?
The main one now is the structures, because every film player has done their best. Where the industry is, every filmmaker has contributed and they have brought it to where it is. The next step is supposed to be the umbrella up here of the structures, because if a filmmaker like Morris cannot access certain things, some of the policies are not favorable, are not favoring the film process. When you come to accessing some facilities, it is very hard here. And I remember some time back when some meeting and someone was like, we need to tell stories about beautiful hotels, about beautiful sceneries in Uganda. But for you to access them, to be given a permit to shoot from those beautiful places, it is very, very, very hard here in Uganda. So that's why you see that most of the films that come out have limited locations, because that is what a filmmaker can afford to access. Yeah.
Okay, so back to you, Morris. What are some of the challenges that you faced while handling this particular project of Tembele?
First of all, budgets. That's like we don't have the the funds. We don't. And I'll tell you straight that that's every filmmaker, producer's problem here in Kampala. Yeah, so I'll tell you that when I was shooting Tembele, I wasn't even sure I'd pull it off. After shooting my first film, Stain, because it really drained me, and I still feel that on my shoulders, which I did 2 years ago. I've never recuperated. So really, Tembele was something tough to actually, pull off. I got to a point where I kept running around within my peers, because you see, not so many people understand what film is. First question someone will ask you, you're talking of money or a partnership to produce a film. How is that money? How am I going to recoup my money back? And how much profit am I going to make? And some of those questions you really can't answer because of the way the structures are. We don't really have areas where you're going to work on this project, like how it happens in Nigeria or South Africa or Bollywood in India or Hollywood. They actually first focus on budget before they actually shoot. And because some of us burn with passion inside out, I mean, no one can stop a man who wants to, push his dream. So also another challenge I had was locations, just the way the chairman put it. Sometimes you script. It's easy to write a location that you'd want to use. Take, for example, say I want to use CTV as a location, this particular news, place. And I'll have to go through a lot of drama and cutthroat, details, the whole process of how we'll give you this space. No, we're using this space and stuff. Others charge you lots and lots of money that you can't afford. Then also the cast, because that's how the cast lives. They have families at home. So you can't carry you can't carry 12 dozen people to take them to Kapchora. You notice in this film, I shot from Kapchora, because Kapchora is a very beautiful place. Absolutely. I don't know if you've been there. The sceneries are, mind-blowing. So it is hard. You have to pay wherever you go. Then the actors, you have to pay them good money to have them do their job diligently without actually thinking of leaving. Because I've had scenarios where actors get almost halfway and they desert the project because the funds are not enough. So basically, coupled with other challenges of production, good equipment, funding, the list is quite endless. Yeah.
Okay, there's something that both you and Mr. Musinguzi have not touched on, and this is the aspect of bubu. I don't know if it's an issue that is still facing the film industry, of why is it so hard for us to accept or even to showcase our own local content. Let's take a look at the different media stations, at the different all over Uganda. How many of them actually showcase local content? We are very quick to show movies that have been produced in Hollywood, and we are leaving movies that are being produced in Uganda. It has a nice ring to it. So would you say that also local content being accepted by us, the Ugandans, is also an issue that is affecting filmmakers in the Ugandan industry?
Yeah, of course, that is a very big challenge. One, I would say the audience right now that is feeding on our local content is not that audience that we've developed, because this is an audience that was developed by Hollywood content. You remember days in school, we used to watch the Schwarzeneggers, the Chuck Norris. So our mind grew up comparing or watching or feeding from that type of picture. So right now, I call upon filmmakers, we need to go back to the ground, go back to schools. It's very unfortunate that today we have schools that are just in a room, and there's no room for activities like MDD, activities like clubs, you get. So that's where we're supposed to begin from. Then the other thing is also that there are people that are promoting Bubu are actually promoting arts and crafts. You get, it's about ebibo, about beads, yes. Yet Bubu is bigger.
It's bigger than
It's
that,
bigger, yes. We need to look at the films that are being produced here in Uganda, the stories that are being told. Because I keep talking to UTB and I tell them, yes, it's good that you record the monies that you've made a year, but you have finger industries that feed tourism. Yes, tourism as its own has finger industries, and one of them is the entertainment industry, the film industry, the music industry, that brings in a lot of people just to come to Uganda and see how these musicians perform and see how these filmmakers make their films. You get. So I think it's high time the policymakers look at it that way, that Bubu should expand. And the campaign should begin right from the grassroots. When you go to the so-called malls downtown that sell films, they sell a Hollywood film at 1,000 shillings, a Ugandan film at 2,000 shillings. Yet this Ugandan film was not just downloaded. It's a film made by Morris here home, but the other Hollywood blockbuster you're competing with at the market was just downloaded by some guy and put on DVD and sold. So those are the challenges we face.
Okay, so back to you, Morris. This being your second mainstream film, of course, after Stains, that was back in 2016. What does the selection of Tembele at the Oscars add to your career as a director, as a photographer, as a producer, as an actor?
Basically, the pre-selection of Tembele, like I said earlier, it came like a shocker to me. And, you know, being a budding producer, I hadn't really gained my ground because I come from a background of TV commercials, and I did film in university, but I had kept away from doing actively films because of the obvious, the market is not fair. Yeah, so imagine you pick your money, say $25,000 US, here, a Ugandan, you have to work so hard to save up for that money. Then you inject it in a film, like Tembele say, you worry because you have other responsibilities. You know, you survive on the streets as, you know, as a responsible person. So you can't keep claiming you're a filmmaker when you can't feed your family. At the end of the day, the whole Africanness comes back, that you have to look after your wife or your kids or your mother. You get the point. So basically, my point is, all filmmakers suffer the same issue, the same problem. And that's why some of them, the numbers of producers either dwindle or they shout up. So being pre-selected has given me ground. It has given me roots to, you know, deeply anchor into the ground as a filmmaker. And probably if they don't see me next door, as the boy next door, I'm sure next door, maybe in Kenya, they'll see me, or Nigeria, they'll see me because I already have Nigerian friends giving me hollers. They used not to talk to me, but now that they see that my film is being pre-selected. I have people from Hollywood writing, you know, to me through my email. God knows how they get the emails. I don't know if it's Mr. Singles who passes it on. I'm getting, like, you know, thumbs up from, I know it's not exactly big, but for me as a filmmaker, as a passionate person, I really feel this is the time. This is the time to maybe reconsider taking on film as, you know, career.
Every filmmaker has that one thing. I mean, every person has something that drives them every morning to be the best version of themselves. So, Maurice, speak to the young gentlemen and young women out there that are probably watching us this morning, either on TV or even online, and they would like to be a filmmaker like you. What keeps you going? What is that thing that always keeps you going and say, you know what, I'm not going to give up, even amongst the challenges that you've already mentioned? Why do you keep holding on? Why do you still keep holding on?
One of the things that makes me me, or one of the things that make me take every step every day, and one of the reasons why I wake up in the morning with a purpose, is because of what I'm passionate about. So if you're a young filmmaker, or you are hopeful, or you're a well-wisher, or you dream and you're in class scribbling away, drawing storyboards, sketches, writing small monologues, or maybe you want to be a theatrist, or you want to be an actress, just think of the reasons why you actually want to be that. In a country like Uganda, you must first consider those things. Do you really want to be a filmmaker, producer in this Uganda, or you want to be a guy who has a shop in Chikubo, or you want to deal in timber or in fake gold? So you must have it in your heart, deep down in your heart. It must be embedded deep down in your brain until this is what I want to be. I want to be a producer. Now that's the very start. You have to identify yourself as a filmmaker from word go. Because here in this kind of climate in Uganda, so many people will try to knock you off. Even our relatives usually tell us, you know, where is film taking you? Or maybe your girlfriend or your wife will tell you, come on, I think you should put that money somewhere. Maybe put the business in mobile money or something, or in a grocery shop. But now, that's why I started with the fact that you must have the heart for what you want to do.
Yes.
Before any other factors do what? Come in. So then the money, you have to work hard. I do countless jobs to actually amass a bit of money to be able to shoot my film. If you ask me, do you have sponsors? You know I will not answer you, because the reality is as it is. I'm here. You get the point. I'm here because I am hungry. You get the point. And I'm thirsty. Yes, and I'm thirsty for the industry. I need to make films. I need people out there to understand. That's how I tell my stories. That's how I quench my thirst through film. So are you the one? Do you quench for film? Do you quench for art? Do you want to be an actor? You want to be an actor or a good actress. You want to get noticed. But you're busy just doing regular TikToks. Or you're busy doing things that do not exactly connect. You get the point?
I have a TikTok account,
so basically, everything that you want to do just angles back into how you carry yourself and what your dream is.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So back to you, Mr. Musinguzi. How and where? I mean, let's look at government intervention and support. How can government intervene and even support when it comes to the Ugandan film industry?
Wow, that is a big question. But I would call on government, one, to come back on board. We need a film commission. In all ways, we need a film commission. We need the infrastructures to be empowered, because every film school right here in Uganda is a private school, except Makerere University. But we also know what happens at some point. So we need government to come up and look at how best they can help own the structures, policies, film drafts, because also that, now let me show you something that is going to happen. Maurice is right now on a stage of pre-selection. The country, or the world, is actually getting into his email box, talking to him.
Yes.
You get, the next time, you know, there are big film studios around the world that would want to collaborate with him. But there are no incentives in Uganda. There are no structures that help this international studio to produce a film here. We've lost so many projects because of that. You know, those are things that need to be worked on as soon as possible, because he's going to, like he just told you, the next time, you know, they'll ask him, you know what, come and work with us in Hollywood. And then we begin rubbing shoulders on TikTok saying, Uganda has someone in Hollywood, like we are with Daniel Kaluuya, and like we are with Ntale. You get? Yeah, every time we see Ugandans doing wonders in other countries, and we are saying, yeah, Ugandan. Yet then the money they make is spent that side. The taxes they pay that side. So we need to wake up. We need government to come up, look at how best they can help this industry to grow, because the talent is here, the skill is here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'll take your last remarks in regard to Uganda at the 2023 Oscars. What are your last remarks?
Whoa, I am calling on to Uganda. This is now not Morris. It is a national concern. Please come out in big numbers to support the film screenings that are beginning tomorrow, Friday. We have 2 screenings every day. That is from 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. So please come in big numbers. Even when we submit the film successfully, please let's keep the discussion. Let's keep the conversation. Let us keep pushing. Uganda must raise. Yeah, that's my message.
Okay, back to you, Maurice. What are your last remarks in regard to the discussion that we're having today, as Uganda will be at the Oscars? Thanks to you.
Well, like you know, we're still in the pre-selection stage, and we can't keep calm, you know. so what I can say is that I'm calling upon all Ugandans, and also remember, Tembele is not an English movie. So it kind of dissects.
You've cut off some
exactly. So no, it actually has subtitles richly.
Okay.
So yeah, so anyone, whether if you come from Chigonya, Chiunya, Katwe, Kawempe, like, because you see that's where I pay homage to those people, because that's where the story is almost, you know, kind of like forged. So,
okay.
But now anyone who is from any other place can come and watch at Akasha Mall. There are 2 screenings, like the chairman said. 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. at Akasha Mall. And the fees are very fair. There's a day, Monday is 12,000.
Okay.
That's, you know, like I usually say. Then Tuesday is 14,000, Wednesday 16,000. Then the weekend goes for 20,000 for those who break off from work. So I'm calling upon you to come on. Bring your boyfriend, bring your lover, bring your mom, bring your jaja. I mean, let's do this. Tembele to the world.
Okay.
They should come and watch why Tembele to the Oscars.
Exactly.
That is true. I think that should be the driving force. Why is it that Tembele, what is Tembele? Why has it made it to the Oscars? That alone should be a reason as to why Ugandans should head out and actually watch this particular movie.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me this morning. We did have a fruitful discussion. Of course, as we close, we shall end with the Tembele trailer. Like Maurice has said, and like Mr. Musinguzi has said, and I shall re-echo, well, the pre-selected Tembele movie will be showcasing tomorrow. That is the 16th of September up to the 22nd of September between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. And that will be at Century Cinema as well as Arena Mall in Isambi. And that winds up the conversation that we had for you this morning on the Twitter Jabs. Stay tuned, because up next we talk emotional suppression. And quite ironically, the conversation we're going to have today on Our Views actually goes hand in hand with Maurice Mugisha's Tembele movie, because very many times we like to suppress our emotions and not get in touch with reality, and then it leads to outbursts. So that is the discussion that we're going to be having this morning on Our Views. Keep watching Sunrise at Sea and don't blink.